There are thousands of senior professionals in the world who look just like you. Now, that didn't used to be such a big problem, even a few years ago. But the way AI and different economic forces are shaping things up in the workplace, it's a huge problem right now. We have so many people who are in this big crowd, whether in the group of marketing or operations or finance or engineering. We all kind of start to look the same. And in that sense, there's so many of them. And then you compound that with layoffs. Well, guess what? A lot of people look quite replaceable. So what we need to do, and what we're going to dive into in this video, is take you from being replaceable to being remarkable. And there's one very specific shift you need to make. Quick backdrop. This all started in the 1800s, back when we had the idea of scientific management come to life. Some guy came into a steel shop with a stopwatch and said, these guys are moving too slow and hauling the steel onto the rail cars. They could go faster. We could lift more steel and we could be more efficient and make more money. So we effectively turned those people into robots so that one person did one job, another person did another job, and there was this great factory-like handoff, and that kept compounding over the years into the 1900s, and Henry Ford took over and all the things took place. We have the modern workforce. The knowledge worker comes to life. We have companies, departments, functions, org charts, boxes within boxes within boxes, right? Small box, medium box, big box. That's what we are plugged into. We start to identify with this. Coming out of school, you get into a track of marketing, of engineering, of technology, of product, whatever it might be. The reality is you're on this path and you just keep leveling up, slightly bigger box, slightly bigger box. And we start waving around the title. I'm the director of engineering. Now I'm the senior director. Now I'm the vice president of software product development. And it's like, where does this stop? The challenge is we're all wearing these same labels. And there are thousands of other people. I dare you, take your title, whether you're in corporate life or take your last one, scan it on LinkedIn real quick. You will find hundreds and likely thousands and thousands of people who look just like you, even all the way up into the senior ranks. I work all the time with folks at director, VP, even executive level, and I guarantee you, as much as they think that they are unique, the world views them as highly replaceable because they look so much like everyone else. So that's point one we're going to dive into, that unfortunately, you're already a commodity. But knowing that is first step, right? So knowing that you're a commodity is being aware that you're being perceived as one. That if you position yourself, I'm a VP of marketing, I'm a director of sales, I work in big tech, fintech, biotech, whatever, any tech, anything out there these days, look at the different workforce industries and you look at the different functions. If you present like everyone else, you're one of many. And the reason that this is all becoming a commodity in a hurry is, yes, AI. When you look at what it's doing, as it starts to just grab hold of so many basic repeatable functions, doesn't matter what sort of industry you're in, what sort of function you're in, marketing, sales, operations, though everything has human touch right now, it's going to be further pinched down. And you look at what's happening across tech, consulting, finance right now in particular, you see the consolidations happening. You see the pressing down of the workforces at the top levels, mid levels, and even the bottom levels, of course, within these organizations. So we have to understand that AI is a forcing function for less jobs to take place, so that if you look like one of many, your odds of getting a new job start to diminish. That's the seeds of corporate graduation, is when you start to see your opportunities diminish. You know inside that it's time for an evolution. You know that you need to elevate to your next level. That leads me to point number two. The labels, the logos, the accomplishments, those were never really the value. Though we stood behind that for so long in role titles and the companies we worked for. No, despite all of that, despite those line items on your resume and your LinkedIn profile, what's really being built underneath all of that is gold, okay? Let me explain. You've been developing all of this hard-earned talent, perspective, battle scars, worldviews. You've gone through a lot, professionally and personally. You've got all these credibility receipts for all these hard things you've gone through. You've got all these unique perspectives on how things should work. Now, that's all underneath you, but we've got to excavate that because no company asks for it all. But you're sitting on gold. And we actually have to understand that your greatest opportunity going forward is not to live behind one of those commodity labels anymore, but to say, nope, I will not be a commodity. I throw that over there. I'm not going to deal with that. That's for other people. I'm going to separate from the crowd, and I'm going to choose a new container, a container that I own, something that I take my gold and I repackage it and I bring it to life. Because I know that if you've been in the business 15, 20, 25 years in corporate life, pushing hard, earning well, doing great things, you're sitting on all this gold. It's career capital. But you have to mine it, you have to package it, you have to deliver it to people who value it. That's on you. No company will ever do that. That's your job to go through and do all that work. And I'll tell you, it's not obvious. I've done it hundreds of times with clients, did it for myself, obviously, and you start to realize that you're sitting on so much more raw material, so much gold, that you don't realize. But we've got to uncover that. That's career capital. It's intellectual property that you can package and bring to the world. Arguably, the greatest asset you could ever build is what you know. And when you learn to bring it to the outside world and package it, you're going to open up so many other opportunities in corporate life, in employment, and beyond as a founder, as I coach a lot of people to go down that route, because that's oftentimes the greatest vehicle you can build, the one that's most exciting, the most lucrative, the most impactful. And you want that for yourself. This leads me to the third and final point. You need to own an outcome, not a title. What you want to be known for in this world to create the most opportunity is delivering a remarkable outcome for a group of people that desperately needs it. That's a great job waiting to happen. That's a great business waiting to be formed. Essentially, two things need to be true for yourself going forward. I don't care where you are right now, especially a director on up, you want this. You want to have something in your life from a career that has inner signal and outer signal, okay? Inner signal means you can't wait to do it. You are jazzed up, excited, energized, jumping out of bed on a Monday morning at 5 a.m. because you can't wait to do the work. That's point one. You want to feel activated by it. You want to feel in alignment with the work you're meant to be doing. Now, point two then, so we have to match that up with the outer signal, which is, okay, for this month and year going forward, what does the world need? For the group of people that I feel compelled to help in this world, what are their unmet needs? What needs to be solved? What are they desperate to have better in their lives? And then how do you match that inner signal with what you're gifted at and what lights you up in the outer signal of what the world desperately needs right now? At that intersection point, I call that a magnetic match, where your side and their side come into alignment and you've got something awesome. Whether it's you know how to position yourself for a game-changing opportunity in corporate life, which is a perfectly viable option. Many of my clients do that on their graduation path. And then longer term, you're setting yourself up with the path of a founder of a business, where you're building something out of your own intellectual property. You've extracted it out of your mind and out of your belief system, and you package it and be like, nope, this is what I want to be known for. So what you're doing is being known for a remarkable outcome. You go from the state of being replaceable because you look like everyone else, and you start to be known as remarkable for generating a really valuable outcome that a specific group of people in this world desperately needs. Now, let me show you how this would change very practically for a second. So one of my clients was a multi-time chief marketing officer, and ultimately that's something that's being commoditized in a hurry. And if you allow yourself to be a marketing leader, guess what? You're going to be in a very crowded space. So what he did was go through a reinvention, started to extract his goal and said, how do I position myself in a way that is a highly unique outcome that's very valued for a very important group of people in this world? So what he did is he created a positioning called the retention directive, very focused on the idea of customer retention and all the work involved in that. In marketing, a lot of times, no matter what business you're in, you're focused on acquisition, acquiring new clients, new customers, new, but very little focus is on the back end of once you have them, how do you retain them? So shifting the focus and being known as the person who focuses on retention, and he has an absolute mentality on how do you maximize that, because he believes that's the greatest gains for organizations these days, is that if you retain what you have and you maximize that, you're in a much better position long term. So rather than being another marketing leader or a CMO, ultimately, he's the founder of the retention directive. Notice how that is entirely unique. You don't see that framing out there. This is essentially him creating his own category. I have another client, very interesting and diverse background, everything from being a chief financial officer, so he knows the finance world very well, to being an attorney practicing in corporate environments. So you understand both sides of the aisle in that sense, finance and law. And ultimately, he saw a lot of breakpoints, a lot of collisions taking place between those two sides. And he saw a huge opportunity to say, well, rather than be another CFO or rather be a corporate attorney, I have this unique perspective of being in these multiple environments. How do I show those two groups how to work together so that the overall company is way better off? So he positioned himself under an idea called FinLaw orchestration, finance and law working together, right? He's the maestro guiding them, and ultimately this is better for overall capital growth for these smaller sized companies. So it's a very powerful positioning. You don't see someone else with that positioning in the world. He is in a one-of-one territory. Another client I have is a chief information officer, and he could keep waving that flag around for a while. And while AI does its thing and takes over more and more of that particular department too, those opportunities will go away. At the same time, he realizes he's sitting on gold. He has a very unique ability based on what he's gone through to help people at that level not live in a state of chaos, but ultimately create a state of calm and peace where they can have a very efficient way of operating in that role. Oftentimes managing hundreds of people, global infrastructure, that's a very hard place to be. But he knows how to help them live it peacefully, efficiently, in a few hours per day versus chaos, 12-hour days. And he knows how to do that. So he built something called the Executive Freedom Operating System. And ultimately, he's got the ability to be known as that sort of outcome creation. He can be someone who creates executive freedom for people in those high-level roles. Rather than just waving around the CIO flag forever, he has a new positioning that he's bringing to life that creates his off-ramp, his graduation beyond corporate life. So that's the bottom line. You can't afford to position yourself like a commodity. You need to be known for a remarkable outcome. Because if you're a commodity and people see you that way, guess what? You're replaceable. Now on the other side, if you understand that your job is to position yourself to create a remarkable outcome, you're anti-commodity. You have this future-proofed ability. You have your own real estate to build something in. You can create those unique jobs should you want to be in corporate for some amount of time. And then clearly you have the runway and the path to go build that unique founder business. Something where you get to thrive and create it out of nothing. Arguably, for someone like you that's watching this, that's a path you're gonna have to go down no matter what. So take it to heart. Don't let yourself be a commodity. This is all part of the thinking we need to go through in corporate graduation. There's a lot more to this whole thing. So if you wanna understand the full corporate graduation blueprint and all that it takes to go from corporate to founder in 1 year, check the video above here or in the description below.